Monday, September 7th. Before we come to some more biblical readings, I've got two readings for you. One is profound, if you want it to be. The other, most definitely, is not. But first I ask you, how was church yesterday? Were you there? What was it like? For some of you, you may have been sitting on the sofa with a cup of coffee. You may have been preparing a meal with me or someone else propped up in a corner, listening as you chopped the onions or put the meat in the oven. Church is different, but how we attend church is still up to us. Are we attentive as we attend? There are so many things that are different about church, but how we come to church, how we prepare our hearts to hear the message, however different it might be, still has an effect on what we actually hear. And of course, if we go deeper down, there's always that question of the battle within about what church is and who we are, and whether we deserve to hear from God, and whether Jesus wants us to be there because actually we know what we've been up to during the week and how maybe we failed to be all that we want to be before we come to his house. So my profound reading comes from Henry Nouwen, and it goes like this. Not being welcome is your greatest fear. It connects with your birth fear, your fear of not being welcome in this life, and your death fear, your fear of not being welcome in the life after this. It is the deep-seated fear that it would have been better if you had not lived. Here you are facing the core of your spiritual battle. Are you going to give in to the forces of darkness that say you are not welcome in this life? Or can you trust the voice of the one who came not to condemn you, but to set you free from fear? You have to choose for life. At every moment you have to decide to trust the voice that says, I love you. I knit you together in your mother's womb. Everything Jesus is saying to you can be summarized in the words, know that you are welcome. Jesus offers you his own most intimate life with the Father. He wants his home to be yours. Yes, he wants to prepare a place for you in his Father's house. Keep reminding yourself that your feelings of being unwelcome do not come from God and do not tell the truth. The Prince of Darkness wants you to believe that your life is a mistake and that there is no home for you. But every time you allow these thoughts to affect you, you set out on the road to self-destruction. So you have to keep unmasking the lie and think, speak and act according to the truth that you are very, very welcome. Welcome in church. Welcome at home. Welcome on the sofa. Welcome in your mask on a plastic chair in the building. But it's more about how you feel in God's presence that will enable you to find freedom and hope and love. God wants to welcome you. The devil wants to make you afraid. The choice is yours. Who will you believe today? And whose presence will you seek? Now, as we've been thinking about church and coming to church, here is the definitely not profound reading, but it kind of illustrates the point I'm making. In some ways, it says we should be comfortable enough to follow this reading. On the other, as a minister, I trust that you might be a touch more attentive than this. Here we go. I was the pastor of a small church in a rural community. Wilbur and his wife, Leah, attended every Sunday morning. Wilbur was a farmer, and whenever he came into the house from the field and sat down, he would fall asleep. It was such a habit that when he came into church and sat in the pew, he would also soon fall fast asleep. I discovered that some of the members of the church were taking bets to see how long I could keep Wilbur awake on Sunday mornings. Wilbur's wife was embarrassed by his behaviour, especially when he began to snore. She tried everything to keep her sleepy spouse awake. She complained to him that she was getting calluses on her elbow from poking him in the ribs in a futile attempt to keep him alert. One day, while shopping in the grocery store, she saw a small bottle of Limburger cheese. Leah bought it and dropped it in her purse. The next Sunday morning, I had just started the sermon when Wilbur began to nod. When I finished the first point in my 3-point sermon, I could see I was already losing him. As I started the third point, Wilbur began to snore. Quietly, Leah opened her purse, took out the bottle of Limburger cheese and held it under her husband's nose. It worked. Wilbur sat up straight and in a voice that could be heard all over the church said, "Leah, will you please keep your feet on your own side of the bed?" I have a husband who can fall asleep, even in church. Can you? I trust that when you're in God's presence today, you'll be attentive. You will feel the welcome of God's arms around you and know that you are safe in his arms. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.